Thank you for listening to Persian Women in Tech's podcast, Pivot Sheroes, created to introduce and elevate the profile of successful Iranian women in tech.
Hi everyone, welcome to Persian Women in Tech's podcast called Pivot Sheroes. My name is Sepida Nasiri. I'm the founder of Persian Women in Tech. We have created this program to introduce and elevate the profile of successful Iranian women in tech. We bring interesting, very well-versed and trailblazer Iranian women who have paved the way and also broken the glass ceiling in the tech industry. And I'm very excited today to introduce and have a conversation with Nastaran Bishehban, Vice President of Global Technology Delivery at Rakuten Kobo, Inc. Nastaran is a passionate, energetic, and seasoned senior technology leader. Nastaran John, thank you so much for joining us today and giving us your time. So excited for this conversation.
It's a pleasure. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Wonderful. So Nastaran John, I have looked at your background, what an incredible journey you have had in the tech industry, and you have had experiences in so many different type of companies as well, from Siemens to Research in Motion, CIBC, and so forth. So, and your schooling and background, what an honor to speak with you. I would love to start this conversation before we go into the Q&A aspect to tell us about yourself and how did you end up where you are today? You live in Toronto area in Canada. So would love to hear your journey first.
Well, my journey started many years ago in Tehran. I was born there. I have a pleasure of coming from northern side of Iran and being blessed with a lot of great cuisines around Gilan area. But was born and raised in Tehran and got my engineering degree actually in Tehran. And after that, the world and the events of life took me around the world. Had many years in Dubai and then moved to Toronto, raised a family, have an amazing support system with my family. Married my best friend when I was 21 in engineering school. And through that support and through building the life together, went through the first master's in Canada, learned about project management, then got an MBA and expanded basically my geek knowledge of technology with how to translate this with a business and how to talk with non-techie and show them the magic that exists in this world. Have been very happy with that decision and probably will give that, if I'm going to give the one and only advice to any techie, is to actually learn the business and learn the language of the business as well. So here I am calling Toronto home after 20 odd years, loving it. This is the second home for sure, if not the first, and have been very blessed with a wide variety of mentors, bosses, colleagues, friends, and all in all, looking for making sure that we live the world a little bit better every day.
Absolutely. And especially right now, the situation with COVID has definitely changed the landscape of how we live and also how we do business. What you just mentioned in regards to, for technologists particularly, who are already used to sitting in front of a screen or building and curating, having that balance with the business side is also really important in engaging, especially since now everyone is from home and from their computer connecting with others. So I totally agree with that. Changes of times, yes. So Nastaran John, you just mentioned your journey and where you started. how you landed in Canada and the journey that you took, not just the technical part and discovery, but also the business side. Of course, you are a leader today. You have an executive position, which also brings a lot of different challenges for you as well. And so my question to you, and I think a lot of people who are looking at leaders always see that perfection side, everything is going great and you have become this incredible person that can lead a team, lead a company. What was the most challenging moment in your life and how did you overcome that situation? Has there been challenges that you would say that has defined maybe how you have moved forward?
Absolutely. If I want to call out just one single challenge that has actually shaped me in a different way is immigrating to Canada. I was working in Iran for a long period. I used to work in Dubai as well for a long period. But the culture shock and the shift and the IQ that it is actually very different. What is considered a value in a work environment and what is not considered value. That was one of the biggest challenge for me, to make sure that I'm selective enough that can build on a graceful, beautiful culture that was my background without losing any of that grace, adding and expanding to the new culture that has welcomed us with open arms. So marrying these two and making sure that I am not sacrificing one for the other was the biggest challenge. And at the end, it took a good year before I could actually accept the fact that nourishing one culture doesn't mean that you are neglecting the other one. These two both can go hand in hand. And many of the beautiful, again, cultural aspect that I brought with myself from the warm Middle East and Iran is actually helping me with building the relationship and connection with the group here in this culture and in the North American culture, quote unquote. So that was the biggest challenge that I faced. And how I overcome, I wouldn't say it is still 100%. I think for us that are dual, basically, we have the love of two different places in our heart. The challenge will always be in place, and it is a constant nourishing that kind of desire of grabbing good from both sides that is helping me personally to overcome this challenge.
This is great. You touched on something that every one of us thinks about, especially those who have maybe migrated not just once, but twice. I personally migrated into 2 different continents. So I really understand what you mean by, embracing and not just neglecting, but really embracing both and making sure that we do have an understanding for both sides. That's really good to know. And especially in the workplace, I think every one of us experiences and having that sense of belonging with our own culture, but also the culture we are in or the country we are in or the city we are in, because even city to city, it changes. People's behavior changes as well.
Tell me about it. All the sports team that I actually frantically go and watch and, chant for their success.
This is wonderful. Absolutely. I love it. You have definitely integrated. Are you a Rapture fan? I'm assuming.
Oh, tell me, who isn't?
You guys got the championship last year, so I'm very jealous. I was a Warriors fan until last year.
Well, believe me, they are second best. If we didn't have Raptors team, they were my number one. So we have a lot in common.
I'm so glad to hear that. And that's really great to integrate that. We understand when we go into a new place that we embrace the new as well. So I love what you just mentioned. You touched based on your mentors in your conversation that you were describing earlier. Has there been a significant person or that had a great impact in your life? Would you say that's a mentor, an advisor? Who has been that directed your career path to where you are today? Or how did they support you?
I think it started a lot before when I started to become a career-driven person. My grandma was specifically a very, very wise and strong lady, one of those alphas in the community and in the family. And many of her life lessons are still with me. And believe it or not, this is a chant that even my teams now follow and talk specifically in a Gilak kind of dialogue and use it. For instance, I remember that once I was very overwhelmed with so many works, and she just came to me and said, "Hey, chum terse dast kone." Your eyes might be scared of the work. Just to start doing it, your hands will continue and do it. And this is a chant actually nowadays. We use it in the team that whenever we are facing some large challenge, they will start saying, don't listen to your eyes. Eyes will be scared, but your hands will continue doing it. So just do it and just do it. Mm-hmm. So she was definitely one of the first mentor in my life. Mom, I have been strongly supported by a series of very strong ladies in the family, my aunts. And I've learned a lot from them. They have been business and very active, socially active ladies around me, and I've learned a lot from them. When I started, one of my first mentor that really I owe the love of the literature, for Persian literature, to her is my literature teacher in high school that actually instilled the love of so many beautiful cultural background that we have, that without her I wouldn't have this. And after that, in the career path that I had, I have been blessed with a couple of very strong ladies and men that helped me and mentored me. And I here should actually acknowledge those that had a very negative impact in me and my mind as well, that I have learned a lot from them. And for that, I'm forever grateful to them. Even though at the time when I was going through those, it was painful, it was not pleasant. But sometimes through those hardships, I have learned what not to do. And I consider them also as a mentor in a different way.
That's a great, I'm just wowed that from the beginning you discovered, or you point that out now, who shaped and were mentors for you. We always, when we identify mentors, we're looking at what career path we are in today. And when we actually, quote unquote, label sometimes people as a mentor, instead of really thinking about individuals who have, with their words, with their advice, from a very young age, we're being shaped and mentored. So I'm glad that you are pointing that out, that, you know, your mentorship started with incredible women who had already been a powerful force for you in your, I guess, in a way of while you were still growing up, those experiences had been instilled in you. And the other point that you just made that I also think is very interesting is that negative impact, and whether that's a bad experience or, you know, it translates really into lesson learned for you as well, which is good to, you know, have that view that not everything is going to be rosy throughout our career path or personal path, that sometimes these experiences that we look at negative or is against what we want to do or where we want to get to, and they change our path, that they're really important of how it shapes us and the path we take continuously from there. and that is also beneficial to us. I'm so glad that you look at these different experiences so positively, even to the negative ones, that they shall pass, they will pass as well. But the lesson learned, hopefully we don't make the same mistakes that we made before to get to that experience, is really important.
Yep.
Wonderful. Nastaran and John, I know a lot of people ask us, or we might ask ourselves, when we are going through experiences, when we have had the warrior scars, when we are, I don't want to say top of the world, but we have established things that we can pat ourselves on the shoulder and say, okay, you have come this long way. You have accomplished until where you are today great things. And people look up to you and an incredible work that you're doing. What is your advice to your younger self? Would you change your path in any shape or form, or would you tell this younger person anything differently than what they have been doing?
Well, many things actually. When we are young and in our early 20s, we wake up every day thinking that today I'm gonna change the world. And that's the beauty of that age. Comes the white hair and you see it's okay if the world is not changed, if you have been able to make some impact to the people around you, to yourself. That is also a victory.
Yeah.
And sometimes those small things are gathered, and miracle happens based on the smaller ongoing goodness that it is coming out of our work and reflection. So my single advice to my 20-year-old would be, take it easy. It will pass, you will achieve, you will get there because you want. And the only thing that you won't get is the things that you don't want. So take it easy. Nothing is basically forever. I do have a very systematic approach looking at what does matter. So should I now, see my 20-year-old, will say, there is three intervals that you might look at. One is, if this thing that is going to bother you this much, does this matter tomorrow? Does this matter in 6 months? Does this matter in a year? If the answer to in a year is yes, then I need to do something about it. If the matter is important after 6 months and it doesn't matter after that, so the action should actually be relevant to that. And if it doesn't matter tomorrow, just ignore it. So in a nutshell, take it easy.
Mm-hmm. And certainly as women who are very passionate, that might be a hard things to do. I know I personally will now follow your advice in how I react or how I think or how upset I get in things that, the curveball that are thrown at us, looking at the perspective that you just mentioned. I think that's a great advice to everyone also listening in. I want to touch base on health and wellness. As successful executives, entrepreneurs, technologists, especially those who are sitting in front of their screen, laptops, and so forth, I'm curious to hear what your day or morning routine looks like. What does a day look like in Nastaran's life? Is it the same? Are there things that you keep consistently that you think it's a must-have? What do you do?
I would tell you what I love it to be, but it is. I would love to start my day with a 5K running and coming back with a hearty and healthy breakfast and then start my day. But unfortunately, this is not the case. I start many of my days with an early call that I have with my partners and co-workers in Japan. So days start with just coming out of the bed, quickly jumping on a call and taking that, and then if I'm lucky, get some coffee or tea in my hand for the rest of the day for a long period. This is certainly something that I'm not advising anyone to follow. It is certainly the health and your body, taking care of your physical body. And subsequently, your mental health is the most important thing in life. So my day actually starts with a lot of checking the messages and emails and everything else. Halfway through, one leg off the bed and one leg is still in the bed, trying to still one more, minutes of sleep. But in general, I try to at least every intervals between the meetings, during the meetings, as much as I can, walk as as I'm having a meeting. So I brought so many of the different equipment in the work environment, and in any cases that I can, we even have many of our workshops while we are standing on elliptical or working on a treadmill and stuff. So combining these together, so it is not one versus the other one. That's the improvement we are trying to make with this daily routines.
This is great. You touched base on so many, health and wellness challenges that we have, especially people who work in tech. Everything is on a go. We have so many screens that we have responsibility on. You can't avoid emails anymore since it's on your phone and on your go. And you can roll out of bed or actually roll over on the side and you can have that phone and check your email. And it's really important to, as you just mentioned, taking care of ourselves. If the motor stops, you can't do any of the work. So making sure that we have self-care and personal time is really important. And also finding the right, whatever it's right for us. You mentioned the 5K. I hope you get to that, Nastaran John, at some point. But it's really important to take care of ourselves. I applaud you that you are thriving and wanting to do that. It's I've had several years of challenges in doing that as well. Actually, COVID has helped me to start working out at home.
Yeah.
Where before that was not a possibility at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about, everyone is thriving to build something in this world. Some people are technologists, so they build products and services, and they work in a tech company where there is an impact or they have a passion for something. What is your interest in the work you have been doing and when you leave this world behind? What type of legacy did you want to leave? Or maybe not at all. I'm just curious.
So I have been in the industry for the past 27 years. And through, passing the 20 years in the industry, I have started to make a different realization that, quite frankly, it is not about technology anymore. It is about technologists. It is about how you train the next group and next generation of the technologists. So with the fast-paced approach, there is no best practice what technology works the best. It is different for every situation, for every company, for every kind of group and industry that we can think about. But if you build and put your energy on the right technologists that can assess the situation properly and build the right technology for that specific kind of situation, that's where I would put more my energy on. So I have been looking into, while keeping a very close eye on the hardcore technology. I still code from time to time for the therapeutic reason of it. But I have spent a majority of my time now focusing on the technologists, paving the road and training the next level of the leaders that can truly understand and embrace the surrounding. It is not about machines anymore. It is not about the technology core. It is about technologists. And that's the, I wouldn't be, delusional calling it a legacy, but this is my motto. And that's where I get my energy to build and pave the road for the next generation of the technologists.
That's such a wonderful note. And definitely, it's all about the people you just mentioned. I will touch on another question to step forward to what you just mentioned. We talk about diversity and inclusion a lot in the world of technology. And interestingly enough, since we are talking about very successful Iranian women and elevating their profile, Forbes last year reported that 70% of Iranian women who graduated from Iranian university are studying STEM, mainly computer science, which is unheard of when you talk about US or Canada or Europe. What is your advice to them? While, they need to advance in some ways, and you just mentioned how you are supporting or you want to support them to grow. And so what is your advice to them? How can they grow? They will be certainly listening to this and inspired by you and looking at what you have achieved.
I can tell what has helped me. And this is definitely something that each individual should put into perspective with the situation that they are. A flat advice that I can give to those amazing STEM girls is to learn the business you are in as well. If you are in an industry that is, supply chain, and you are a technologist in supply chain, learn about supply chain. If you are helping a group that are on e-commerce and you are a technologist building the platform of the e-commerce, learn about the e-commerce, learn about the business, because quite frankly, knowing only about STEM will keep you in labs, will keep you behind the computer only. Not that this is necessarily a bad thing, but for you to grow and have a better impact coming out of your lab, coming out of your laptop, you want to be able to have a common language with the people around you who are driving the business. So in a nutshell, become the business. You are a technologist enabling the business. And as such, I would not differentiate between a technologist and a business person, and would encourage everyone to learn about the business around themselves and learn about the proper communication and humans' behavior, because that will take your goal a lot faster and further towards the impact that you want to put with your knowledge on this stuff.
I really agree with this one. I think a lot of technologists, they're so great at coding and building, but understanding the business, you also understand the tools that you can build better because of that human behavior, or the consumers, basically. Exactly. What do they need? And so not knowing the consumers or the business side and their behaviors, you may build products that are not as necessary or not Exactly. very well received. So I definitely agree with that. Technologists certainly know the business side, and it's great because a lot of business people are also trying to at least understand the lingo of technology, which that's really important as well. Vice versa, if you're a business person, you
Well,
should
we keep
know.
a couple of those lingos to ourselves. We want to also be mysterious.
I know. I have been around those conversations where I had no idea what's being said. So
Sorry.
kudos to you. It is, but it is, you gave such a great advice that, do know the environment and industry you're in to be able to connect with other people, to be able to have the conversation. And also to grow, right?
Exactly.
You have become a vice president of a huge company. I mean, Rakuten is incredible. And so to get to that level, I'm sure you had to, not just the technical side of things, but the business side of things have been very important in managing people, managing teams, and also engaging with other executives, especially from other cultures, which is also really important to be.
And fun.
And yes, I'm really jealous. You have probably been to Japan so many times.
I have been. Next time, come with me.
I would love to. I've never been to Japan. It's on my to-do list. So as soon as it's safe to go, I'll really take you up on it, Nastaran.
We'll look forward to it.
My last question, one of my last questions to you, and you actually pointed towards that question, is learning. And as a community, we have so many passions to do certain things. But what have you seen is one neglect that our women have? What are they neglecting? Or what is it that your belief is that you think other people don't think about? And I know you and I had this, we touched base on this when we talked about this earlier today. And I would love to hear what your thoughts are around, investing in ourselves.
I think in general, self-promotion and self-care. Not to the point that we love our fashion, we love our appearances. I'm specifically talking to Persian and Middle Eastern women. We are raised with sacrifice in our DNA. When we have a sick kid, we make sure that they have good, orange juice ready and everything in place, while not even thinking that I need to also be strong and healthy for continuing to take care of my kids. So have an orange juice glass of orange juice for yourself too. So these are the areas that I think from aspects of the health that we don't take care of ourselves a lot. And then from the aspects of learning and elevating our knowledge level as well. We will go to university and get so many, different decorative degrees, and we add those knowledge to ourselves, but then using it in a real life become a problem. That's why we see so many amazing PhD that are now even struggling to find their first foot to the their job. So learning, self-learning, investing on your learning, it is completely okay to buy a prescription that you might not even read more than 2-3 months of it, but do it. Invest in yourself. That's the very powerful advice that I got from one of my mentors, and it has been tremendously helpful for me.
I love how you touch base on that, and I truly believe in investing in ourselves as well. A good point you made is about the subscription. And subscriptions, whether it's a membership to an organization where you can expand your network, or getting a coach that can help you how to negotiate better your salary, or how to communicate better and put yourself in a better light. We forget to even make sure that, for example, our LinkedIn looks great. That's our first, I'm always shocked to see that we have beautiful photos, many of us, on Instagram and Facebook and all of those places, but we don't have that photo that we invested in for our LinkedIn profile. And I think those are really important things that you mentioned. We have to invest in as much in ourselves and our health and wellness, but also in our professional path, and making sure that we learn not just the book smart way of things, but we also learn how to communicate more effectively, or
Absolutely.
If we need other types of help, not thinking that we know everything just because we have 5 PhDs, which is very
Absolutely.
common. I came to realize in our community. I don't know where they find the time, but they're incredibly smart human beings. So
Very decorated, for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Nastaran John, we are at time. This has been such a pleasure speaking with you. I know we have inspired a generation, the current generation, the next generation, looking at what you have achieved today, and where you're still going. So I really appreciate the time you have taken today and shared with us your wisdom and your career path. If people wanted to get in touch with you, what is the best way?
First of all, it was a pleasure talking to you, and I appreciate the opportunity to open up some of my experiences with your audience. I'm active on LinkedIn. Nastaran Bishehban is easily findable. So please connect, and I would love to expand and have more and more additional great surrounding in the LinkedIn.
Wonderful. Reading books that inspire us and gives us knowledge is really important, not just the school books. Just for reference, Nastaran John, can you mention the title of the book that you advise people to read and that
Absolutely.
can impact their life?
It is 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. It is authored by Yuval Noah Harari.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for this and all
My
your
pleasure.
insight. You have a fantastic day, and thank you again
as well.
for joining
This
us.
was fun. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us this week on P with Heroes. Make sure to visit our website, PersianWomenInTech.com, where you can subscribe to our podcast on YouTube and SoundCloud so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on our podcast platforms, and share the podcast link with friends, and help us elevate Iranian women in tech and inspire our community.